Hello, everyone. This is Anne McElhinney.
And this is Phelim McAleer.
This is the Anne and Phelim Scoop. And it's really good to be back after we were on the road. We were over in Dennis Prager's house the last time.
Yes.
And that, so we
in
did
his
our
library?
In his library, with his dog.
Yeah. And actually, after the interview, we went for dinner with Dennis, and he said he really enjoyed it. He says, I suppose it's true. So very often,
he's questioning people.
He's questioning people, and he actually really enjoyed being questioned.
So in today's show, we're going to be talking about Lisa Page. We're going to be talking about a union that destroyed several businesses over complete union madness. We're going to be talking about Giving Tuesday and asking you if you wouldn't mind giving. And we are going to talk about, we're going to do a movie review of Won't You Be My Neighbour, the recently released Tom Hanks film.
Oh, Mr. Rogers.
We are going to talk about a new recipe, which is a recipe for mince pies. Very, very British.
Apples and pears.
Apples and pears. And I'll tell you how to make that incredibly easily. And it is unbelievably addictive. So you could swap out your, other addictions for this particular addiction for this holiday season.
It's I have tested these mince pies. I can confirm.
Phelim has tested. We were doing a quality control thing after we made them yesterday, and
I could not control. I could not control the quantity of consumption
during the quality control exercise. It's very bad. So So first of all, we're going to talk about Lisa Page. So what happened with Lisa Page yesterday?
Who is Lisa Page?
Who is Lisa Page, Phelim?
You tell me.
The FBI Lovebirds.
FBI Lovebirds. So Lisa Page was the senior counsel for Andy McCabe, who's the deputy director of the FBI. But you may know her as
the lover
of Peter Strzok, the senior FBI agent who, along with Lisa Page, started the Russia hoax investigation. He was the one who said, we need to investigate candidate Trump because it's likely he's a Russian agent. And was in charge of the investigation. By the way, a complete breach of FBI protocol, starting an investigation and being in charge of it.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I think it makes sense, actually, because if you started with a certain idea...
you need a fresh set of eyes to go onto the information.
Yes, so he breached that protocol, but that's minor. These people were... Trump's not going to get elected, says Lisa Page, in a text message. No, we will stop it.
Yeah,
says the senior counter-espionage agent at the FBI.
And you're meant to believe that, and they're writing these texts using their work phones, and you're meant to believe after that of course they're unbiased, that they absolutely bring none of this their political leanings or their political dislike of Donald Trump to their investigation. You're meant to believe that.
Strzok said in a text message, I feel like I messed up with, I'm paraphrasing there, with the Clinton investigation into her emails, but we're going to change that with the Trump investigation. And then she says, why are you starting this investigation as an insurance policy? That was what he was the candidate as an insurance policy.
In the unlikely event that he gets elected. Yeah. Exactly.
So
and vomit. Like the kind of
I could smell. I went to a Southern Virginia Walmart and I could smell the Trump support. But actually, enough of us recreating those text messages, because we, as you all know, we did the FBI Lovebirds Undercovers. By the way, I wanted to make it clear, I wanted it, because I'm old English and British and proper, I wanted to call it The Insurance Policy.
The Insurance Policy.
But that was vetoed by my populist wife.
Correct. I wanted it to be called the FBI Lovebirds Undercovers. Undercovers, do you get it? Undercovers. Undercovers.
I remember I sold this project to Dean Cain as...
in a very...
As the insurance policy. This is going to be, a journalistic voyage through, the deep state, and then I had a phone up and say, actually, we've decided it's going to be called FBI Lovebirds Undercovers, and I was dreading he was going to go, I says, we've got a new name for it. And he goes, what is it? And I go, FBI Lovebirds Undercovers, and he burst out laughing. Love it, he said.
He liked my idea best.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
So where are we?
Hang on. So what did Lisa Page? So she gave this massively important exclusive interview to the Daily Beast. What did she say?
Well, first of all, you can see that we filmed Dean Cain and Christy Swanson playing Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. You can see it on FBI.
Here's a quick reminder of the trailer.
Did you get laid yesterday? I didn't. I'm concerned that someone forgot to validate my time or something. Oh, that's funny. Paid, not laid.
There's no way he gets elected, Dash. But I'm afraid we can't take that risk. It's like an insurance policy. God, Hillary should win 100 million to 0. Just went to a Southern Virginia Walmart. I could smell the Trump support.
Vomit. Vomit. Vomit, vomit, vomit.
You can come hang out in 4012 with me. I have remnants of Cubota chips and salsa.
It's going to be a Clinton-Trump race. Unbelievable.
What? Exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Please don't ever text me again.
Oh my God, that makes me laugh so much when I watch that. Every time I watch that, I just love it. And you can watch the whole thing, by the way, by going to the site, which we'll put the name of the site there so that you can get it, and we'll also put it up on the Facebook page.
What is it, Devon? FBI?
Lovebirds.com.
FBIlovebirds.com. It'll bring you directly to the whole thing.
Okay, so Lisa.
Yes. What did she say at the
Lisa
weekend?
Lisa is innocent. To quote Lisa, there is no fathomable way I have committed any crime at all. Well, first of all, Lisa, I know I said it was seditious and treasonous. No one's actually said you've committed a crime. I mean, it's probably not a crime to start investigating the president of the United States. You know, it's you shouldn't be in law enforcement. You should be working in Walmart. If you believe in the Russian, actually, that's an insult to the people of Walmart. Not only that, you can be an idiot for a primary presidential campaign, lose horrendously, and get rehired by the next one. Because did you see Kamala Harris's chief of staff or somebody resigned and wrote this scathing letter about how
that was accidentally leaked.
Never in all my day, and now she's gone and worked for the Bloomberg campaign. I'm going, Mike Bloomberg.
Yeah,
you hired someone who's Kamala Harris started off like with 20% in the poll. She's now at 3%. You're taking someone who brought someone from 20 to 3%, and then is unfaithful and disloyal and writes this crappy letter and leaks it to the New York Times or something. That's the kind of person you want on your team, Mike Bloomberg.
Obviously, there's very few talented people in the world.
Exactly. So Lisa Page should work for a not-for-profit, I think. So no one's saying. So she's innocent. She's given you an interview to the Daily Beast. And, you know, she doesn't think she has post-traumatic stress disorder. Do you know why?
I know that. I saw that. She doesn't think she has post-traumatic stress disorder.
Because it's still ongoing.
Yeah.
So she has ongoing post-traumatic stress disorder.
But she was at pains to explain to people, which I thought was kind of funny, that I think she was particularly so when after Our Lovebirds came out, basically the same day or the day after, Donald Trump had a rally and he did a kind of a reenactment of parts
of the trailer
of the trailer of the Lovebirds.
Because President Trump did tweet the trailer.
Oh Lisa, I love you. Oh Peter, I love you, and all that. And basically she's misinterpreted that as the President of the United States reenacting an orgasm.
Yes.
And I think a bit of a disappointing orgasm, to be honest.
As orgasms go,
there was far too many words in it, by the way,
yes.
I think, for a regular orgasm. But sure, who am I to talk as an expert on that and everything? We're not going there, by the way. We're just not going there. We've gone there and just said it, and we're just going to leave that that in place. But that was extremely traumatizing for her.
He tweeted it about me 4 days ago. She told me on November 18th. When Roger Stone got convicted, he asked, why isn't Page in jail too? Not to mention, his truly reprehensible, degrading stunt at his rally, in which he used my name to simulate an orgasm.
No, he didn't.
I don't know, and I don't ever know when the president's going to attack next.
Isn't that fabulous?
And when it happens, it can still sort of upend my day. You don't really get used to it.
So her day gets upended on a regular basis by the President of the United States.
Is that a new word for orgasm, getting your day upended?
Okay.
Fair enough. I just wanted for the record. So, in all these articles, they always say the inspector. Of course, the Inspector General report found no wrongdoing and no. This is what the Inspector General found, right?
It's in relation to Lisa Page and Peter Strzok.
Yes, the conduct of the 5 FBI employees has brought discredit to themselves, so doubt about the FBI's handling of the mid-year investigation, and impacted the reputation of the FBI. As described, our review did not find documentary or testimonial evidence directly connecting the political views these employees expressed in their text messages. Nonetheless, the conduct by these employees cast a cloud over the FBI mid-year investigation and sowed doubt on the FBI's work and on its handling of the mid-year investigation. Then they go on. We're deeply troubled by this text message of Strzok and Page that potentially indicated or created the appearance that investigative decisions were impacted by bias or improper considerations.
Most of the text messages raising such questions pertain to the Russia investigation, which was not a part of this review. Nonetheless, when one senior FBI official, Strzok, who was helping to lead the Russia investigation at the time, conveys in a text message to another senior FBI official, Page, that we'll stop candidate Trump from being elected after other extensive text messages between the two disparaging candidate Trump, it is not only indicative of a biased state of mind, but even more seriously implies a willingness to take official action to impact the presidential candidate's electoral prospects.
And it goes on then, this is antithetical to the core values of the FBI. What are the core values of the FBI? I might add, does the FBI have core values? We don't know. However, as we describe in Chapter 9, in assessing Strzok's decision to prioritize the Russia investigation over following up on the mid-year on the Clinton-related investigation lead discovered on the Wiener laptop in October 2016, and this is important, these text messages led us to conclude that we did not have confidence that Strzok's decision was free from bias.
Yeah, so not exactly a nothing burger there. Yeah, this is not...
Page saying, we were cleared. He said he's not clear that you were free from bias. He's not clear about this. This is the Inspector General. And as he says, most of their text messages, the bad ones, were about the Russia investigation, which was not the subject of the previous Inspector General's report. So let's see when the new Inspector General's report comes out next Monday. Let's see what that has to say.
Exactly.
Oh, on lighter notes, Babylon Bee, actually. You should
we
really
love the Babylon Bee.
Here, is Monday is Cyber Monday, is it? Yes?
We just had, Monday passed. Yeah. Monday passed was Cyber Monday.
So it's Church of headline in Babylon Bee, Church of Scientology slashes membership fee to $300,000 in huge Cyber Monday sale.
Isn't that fabulous?
Moving on.
Yeah, I like that. Moving right along. So we came across this fabulous story in the LA Times at the weekend.
Yes.
Just everything you ever wanted to know about unions, but were afraid to ask.
And here I have.
Everything you ever wanted to know about unions and wanted to understand why people have some kind of antipathy to unions. Here's everything you ever needed to know about unions.
Yes. So I just wanted to be clear, we don't buy the LA Times, but we do.
We do not buy the. No, what we do is, which is much. We were happy about it actually. So we go to a coffee shop where they have copies of the LA Times. But interestingly enough, a lot of hipsters go there, and I don't think they know what a newspaper is.
Yes.
So they don't recognize this lump of paper.
We're the only people who read the newspaper there.
And let's say occasionally, maybe when we're at that coffee shop and we find a fabulous story, maybe every now and again, occasionally, we might just take the 2 pages involved that have the story in them. Only very occasionally.
And I think, given
mistake.
Given the amount of money that we spend there, that mistake is justified.
Correct. This is an incredibly expensive
I am like Lisa
coffee.
Page. I am innocent.
You are. Tell us the story, Phelim. This is a great story. And by the way, it's a tragic story. By the way,
it's a tragic story.
Funny. We're laughing, but it ain't funny.
So, how a feud over 2 jobs tipped the West Coast Longshore Union towards bankruptcy. By the way, that's not the headline.
And that is so not the headline.
That's not. It is the headline, but it shouldn't be the headline.
Let me just read that again. How a feud over 2 jobs tipped the West Coast Longshore Union toward bankruptcy. If ever there was a story that buried the lead, this is exactly the example.
How a feud over 2 jobs destroyed a port in Portland.
Destroyed. They closed it. They closed a port. And by the way, do you not think that maybe is a bigger story than a union going bankrupt? Yeah. But what happened? How did this even happen?
So they opened with a feud that could wind up bankrupting the powerful West Coast Dock Workers Union began like a scene from B-grade gangster film when 2 men met over a calamari lunch. According to federal court testimony, Lil Sundet, a burly, blonde union leader, introduced himself in a Portland, Oregon restaurant to Elvis Ganda, a grey-haired port terminal executive, with the words,
I'm the guy that can F you badly.
Bleep you badly, I think.
No, F. I think I can say F badly.
Okay, well, we'll put that to the Standards Commission afterwards.
We will. I'm the guy that can F you badly. I love it. It's like the opening it's like the opening scene in a gangster movie.
So Sundet was held the second highest position in the Longshore workers union. But this fight was not over. We need more money for our members, because do you know how much a union
yeah.
worker?
There's nice little bits dropped in here. I'll do this. The ILWU, which is the Longshore Workers Union, whose 15,000 dock workers make an average of.
How much?
Okay, Magda, throw out a number there. The average for these 15,000 dock workers. Give us a number. Just throw a number out.
A year.
Yeah, a year. Come on.
70,000.
Thank you, Magda. We're good with you. Okay, Yvonne, throw us a number. How much do you think a
dock worker...
A dock worker, the 15,000 dock workers, what's the average pay for a dock worker up in Portland? Give us a number.
65.
Okay, we got 65, we got 70,000. Okay, news to you gals. $171,000 is the average salary. And by the way, this is this story. I just love that. I mean, there's a nice detail that you mightn't have known. That dock work, because in my head you think dock workers.
It's a working man. I am.
Okay, those guys definitely need a union because I'm not well paid, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, 171,000.
Yes.
Okay, Phelim, what happened to these unfortunate workers?
Yeah, so
these troubled, downtrodden workers.
Man.
Okay, no singing, Phelim. No singing now. Okay.
So these poor, downtrodden workers of the world unite type people. We're not looking. The leadership were not looking to increase that measly pay.
$171,000 average.
They actually. What happened was the employers had two workers who were working some thingy, and they said they should be in our union, and the other union said no, actually they're in our union, and the fight was over. What union the workers should be in. And that's what closed this. It wasn't a fight over pay and conditions or health and safety or dangerous conditions or anything like that, or rain or anything.
No, we don't want these two workers in this union. We want them in that union.
Yeah.
And obviously that's an incredibly principled and important thing to fight really hard for. And to
destroy.
fight so hard for that you close a port.
Yes.
And not alone, obviously the port closed, but can you imagine the amount of businesses that were adversely affected by that? Yeah. And by the way, if you are at $171,000 a year and there are 15,000 of you, my God, that is an incredible impact to the economy in the local area. And all of the ancillary businesses, by the way, that are connected to the port, all gone because two unions decided to fight over this.
The employer took them to court and won a $94 million judgment against the union, and that's why they're going bankrupt. And they destroyed the business by going slow. Sundet guided the local chapter of the union as members drove trucks and cranes slowly, took indirect routes around the container yard, parked vehicles to block in reefers, and faked mechanical problems. So they would fake mechanical problems to destroy the business. The next year, shipping lines Hanjin and Hapag-Lloyd decided to leave the port for good, leaving only Westwood, a small carrier. So then eventually Westwood left as well. And it's just every part of this story is worth reading. And we'll put the story up, by the way, on Facebook. As the departure deadline approached, the dock foreman told Sundet that a manager wanted to replace him with an experienced operator. Tell him to go F himself, Sundet replied. Yeah.
And refused to leave the cab, according to Lusk report, which Sundet, whatever. Out of
time, the Westward Columbia, that's the ship, departed for Asia with 141 containers that should have been dropped off in Portland. 47 containers remained stranded on the dock. So the ship was not filled. It had to leave. It left all that stuff behind. So that's the wonder of unions. And
and can you imagine that this fight over these two guys being between these two unions, that this went on for a long time. And
years.
Obviously, things got worse and worse, and it got worse and worse, and obviously the situation was looking super bleak. Can you imagine that in the middle of how bleak it was looking, where people were obviously saying, my God, guys, let's get this sorted, that no one came into those unions and said, we need to stop this right now because look what's at stake here. 15,000 unbelievably well-paid jobs, plus all the ancillary benefits to the economy. And no one said that. That's how completely mad unions are and how little they care about workers. Imagine 100, we're going to say it again, $171,000 average, which means some people earned a shed load more than that.
Yes. And I'm sure that, like with unions, there's a usual bunch of no-show jobs. Oh, and actually, it's very funny. So here, I don't know how this part of the
newspaper happened to come home with us
here because,
we have no idea.
I definitely didn't steal it. But look, here's the picture they use.
And we're putting up that picture, by the way.
That they used to illustrate the story. And when you hear what the caption, now it's not connected to this particular dispute. Top officials from a chapter of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union protest port automation at an April meeting at the LA Harbour Commission.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that. They're protesting automation.
Well, you understand why, right?
Oh, of course. But it's like, you're not...
What? Yeah. You're not going to stop the clock on automation, right?
Well, you know what? Maybe they are, but you're making goods more expensive for people, and you're destroying businesses to protect a couple of thousand workers who will get other jobs. But maybe they won't get $171,000 jobs. And you know what? Maybe they don't deserve it either.
Anyway, it's a great story, and as I said, we'll put that up on the Facebook page. Right now, we just want to do a very quick appeal. We haven't done this before. It's like we're in episode, I think, 19 here. But I hope that you're enjoying the podcast. I hope that you're enjoying the information that we're bringing to you. We want to do a lot more of it. We want to go on the road. We want to interview a lot of interesting people. We got a couple of very interesting interviews coming up, and a couple of special projects that we're going to talk a little bit about. Very, very special project. Very, very special project. But right now, I just want to talk about Giving Tuesday, which was yesterday. But you can go right now to the apscoop.com, and give what you can. Give what you can. And we'd love to have sustaining members. If you wanted to give $10, $20 a month, it would mean a huge amount to us. Any amount that you can give would be great to keep us going. 2020 is going to be an incredibly important year. And some of the things that that we're expert on and things that we care about are things that are going to be huge issues next year. The abortion issue is going to be front and center, but also the fracking issue. And as you know, we made the fracking documentary, Frack Nation, and we're just going to show. Well, we're not going to show that right now, but the fracking issue is incredibly important. You have all the Democratic candidates all getting together and saying the same thing. They're saying we're going to stop it. We're going to ban all fracking. The implications of that are unconscionable. It's inconceivable what would happen if that were to happen. So we're going to be talking a lot about fracking. We want to go to Midland. We want to do a podcast about this very issue on the road in the places where we can talk to workers. We can talk to those people and say, hey, does everyone have cancer here, for example? Is there seismic activity constantly? All those types of things. So we would ask you to give what you can because obviously, as I said, yesterday was Giving Tuesday, to the apscoop.com, theapscoop.com. We're going to put that up.
Is that money tax deductible?
And that money is tax deductible. And we're going to put that website up that you're going to see it on your screen right now, the apscoop.com. And as I said, we're a 501.
We can't do this without you.
We can't.
And we enjoy this.
And I meant to read, actually, maybe we could find it before the end of the show. We wanted to read some of the letters that we got from some of you guys. Really, really nice and really kind. As somebody said recently, Yvonne might be able to find that email first, but somebody said that they had come for the information and stayed for the food. Was that it, right, Yvonne? I got that right. So came for the information and stayed for the food. A lot of people like the cats. Some people who didn't like the cats, we're curtailing their activities.
Let's just say yes, we're working on
their behaviour skills.
Yes,
and hopefully we won't have any more incidents like we had.
We can't do this without you. We need you. We don't like asking for.
We hate asking,
but it's important, and you've been very generous to our projects in the past. And talking of which, I mean, we have a really, really, really special project coming up next week. And what we'd ask you to do, the best thing to do, is to sign up to get very early information about that project, and you can do that by going to. Yvonne?
What is it, Yvonne? Where do we go to for people to sign up for the special project for next week?
apexclusive.com.
apexclusive.com. The apscoop.exclusive.com. apscoop.exclusive.com. Again, that's going to go up on the screen.
apscoop.exclusive.com.
And so you will be. Let me just say, we can't tell you.
We can't tell you what the
but
project
honestly,
is.
You're going to be really, really happy to hear about it. And so sign up now, and you might actually get a little early information in a few days.
In Friday.
I think you might get some
our projects. We've done the Gosnell movie. We've done
FBI Lovebirds. We've done the Clinton emails.
We did Frack Nation.
We did Ferguson.
So we
got an exciting thing. And we want you to be the first to know about it.
You're going to be the first to know. So go to apscoopexclusive.com.
Yeah.
put your email there and you'll be the first to know. And
while you're there, just go over to the apscoop.com and give a donation. And as I said,
make this project happen.
To make this project happen, to make other projects happen. And obviously sustaining members are a huge thing for us.
Don't you agree, Scaredy Cat?
Thank you so much. I'm moving right along. And thank you for that. I'm moving right along. And obviously this is the Christmas season. This is going to take me a little bit. This is going to be longer than our normal movie review section. And I think... just indulge me, and I hope that you'll be glad I did. So we went to see Won't You Be My Neighbour, the new film with Tom Hanks in it. And I think we might slightly disagree on it, but I think it's great. I think the film is great. I think it's really, really enjoyable. It's important maybe to mention the fact that we're obviously Irish, you've noticed that. So we were not brought up with Mr. Rogers. It's the story of Mr. Rogers.
Well, actually, the vice principal of our school was called Mr. Rogers, but we'll not talk about that.
Okay. The story tells of Mr. Rogers being interviewed by a cynical journalist from Esquire magazine for, he was asked originally to do 400 words. It becomes it becomes a cover story. That's the story they're telling, right? So you can go and find the Esquire magazine article, and it's online and it's free. And I cannot possibly recommend reading the Esquire article more. And by the time I'm finished, I think you'll all want to read the Esquire article. So what's really interesting when you read the Esquire article, loads of it, Phelim and I read it yesterday, loads of the Esquire article are directly represented in the movie, like verbatim,
yes.
in perfection, down to the actual, some dialogue that they lifted directly and put in the movie.
Much dialogue.
But many of you listening will know will understand it and know this very well. What they did with the film Unbroken. Many of you will know the film Unbroken, which was based on the book by Laura Hildebrand about Louis Zamperini, who was the Olympic track record holding guy, fantastic, who had this extraordinary life, who had been in a Japanese concentration camp,
had been in the Olympics, and
been in the Olympics, had met Hitler, had this extraordinary life, but was tortured and this thing, and then came back to Los Angeles, married, got into a drinking problem, became super obnoxious, was horrible, had children, and his wife was basically about to leave him until she said, "Can you do one thing for me? Just one. Would you go and listen to Billy Graham, who was doing, the evangelist Billy Graham, who was doing a revival here in Los Angeles?" And he went, and it changed his life, and he devoted the rest of his life to Jesus, to Christianity, and to doing good. And he continuously said of himself, that nothing in his life made sense without Jesus, that his whole story needed to be taken and told through the prism of his conversion and his relationship.
As promised when he was in the boat,
yes,
he was sunk off a ship, and he promised that if he got out of it, he would dedicate his life to Jesus. He did get out, and he didn't, and then he did.
And
and that's by the way, that's a great movie, isn't it? When you think about it. It's a great
story.
But the movie.
So the movie, made by Angelina Jolie, directed by Angelina, they sat down and they clearly decided this. They decided, we're going to leave Jesus out.
Yeah.
We're basically going to leave Jesus out. And I just think and it's so sad, like Louis Zamperini was dead basically, I think before the movie came out. I think he was probably gone. And I think, how disappointing. Why wouldn't you tell a story? So going flash back and flash forward to Won't You Be My Neighbour, the central story of this man, Mr. Rogers, is, first of all, Mr. Rogers was an ordained Presbyterian minister. It's not a nothing, right?
Yes.
It's not a zero.
Who decided not to follow his ministry, but to bring his ministry to children through television. He just viewed his show as another part of his ministry.
But here's the ending of the Esquire article, and I want to read it, and I want you to indulge me, and I don't think you're going to regret this. So the journalist writes, as I said, this extraordinary piece of writing. I cannot possibly recommend it more. Here's how it ends. And the journalist says this. "The next afternoon, I went to his office." So he went to Mr. Rogers' office in Pittsburgh. "He was sitting on a couch under a framed rendering of the Greek word for grace and a biblical phrase written in Hebrew that means, 'I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine.' A woman was with him, sitting in a big chair. Her name was Deb. She was very pretty. She had a long face and dark blue dark blush to her skin. She had curls in her hair and stars at the centre of her eyes. She was a minister at Fred Rogers' church. She spent much of her time tending to the sick and the dying. Fred Rogers loved her very much. And so, out of nowhere, he smiled and put his hand over hers. "Will you be with me when I die?" He asked her. And when she said yes, he said, "Oh, thank you, my dear." Then, with his hand still over hers and his eyes looking straight into hers, he said, "Deb, do you know what a great prayer you are? Do you know that about yourself? Your prayers are just wonderful." Then he looked at me. I was sitting in a small chair by the door, and he said, "Tom, would you close the door, please?" I closed the door and sat back down. "Thanks, my dear," he said to me, then turned back to Deb. "Now, Deb, I'd like to ask you a favour," he said. Would you lead us in prayer?" Deb stiffened for a second, and she let out a breath, and her colour got deeper. "Oh, I don't know, Fred," she said. "I don't know if I want to put on a performance." Fred never stopped looking at her or let go of her hand. "It's not a performance. It's just a meeting of friends," he said. He moved his hand from her wrist to her palm and extended his other hand to me. I took it and then put my hand around her free hand. His hand was warm, hers was cool, and we bowed our heads and closed our eyes. And I heard Deb's voice calling out, "For the grace of God." What is grace? I'm not certain. All I know is that my heart felt like a spike. And then in that room, it opened and felt like an umbrella. I had never prayed like that before, ever. I had always been a great prayer, a powerful one, but only fitfully, only out of guilt, only when fear and desperation drove me to it. And it hit me right then, with my eyes closed, that this was the moment Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, had been leading me to, from the moment he answered the door to his apartment in his bathrobe and asked me about Old Rabbit. Upon a time, you see, I lost something and prayed to get it back. But when I lost it the second time, I didn't. And now this was it, the missing word, the unuttered promise, the prayer I'd been waiting to say a very long time. Thank you, God. Mr. Rogers. That's how the Esquire magazine article ended.
Mr. Rogers, I'm here to interview you.
It is so nice to meet you.
You okay?
Profiling Mr. Rogers.
Lloyd, please don't ruin my childhood.
This piece will be for an issue about heroes. Do you consider yourself a hero?
We are trying to give the world positive ways of dealing with their feelings.
Yeah? Like what?
There are many things you can do. You can play all the lowest keys on a piano at the same time.
You love broken people. Like me.
Sometimes we have to ask for help, and that's okay. I think the best thing we can do is to let people know that each one of them is precious.
Hey, Mr. Rogers! It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Please won't you be my neighbor?
That was wonderful.
please do yourself a favor and read the article. It's long, but you will not be sorry.
It's Esquire.
It's in Esquire. We're going to put the link up, and it'll be on Facebook page. And sorry, I'm not good at doing these emotional things. I kind of get, but it's honestly, it's really, really powerful. We couldn't believe it yesterday. We went to see the movie, then we thought, oh, you know what? We should read the Esquire article. You read the Esquire article, and you think, why does Hollywood do this? Why would Hollywood do this?
Destroy this story.
Here's a great story. It's not like, I mean, I can understand that certain religious things could be a bit boring, right? This isn't boring. This is really profound. This is at the very center of someone's heart, his soul. He lays his soul bare, and he's this kind of cool guy who is the top writer for Esquire, and they leave it out. And it's in the same way as it brought the Louis Zamperini thing right back to me, and I thought, you know what? That's why we want to make movies. That's why we want to tell stories, because we'd never leave something like that out. Yeah. It's too important. And by the way, it's so inspirational. It's so powerful and inspirational. I would urge people, yes, go and see the movie. I really, really love the movie. But when you read the Esquire article, it brings it to a totally other level.
Now, there is a small bit of prayer in the movie, but when you read the article,
they do, yeah. In the film, they mention he has a prayer life, that he meets, and I mean, what an extraordinary man that he was. That he had these children, and I honestly, Magdalena, you have got to go and see it. She has problems. Magda has problems with things like this, but I can tell you, you'll be glad you went to see it. That his relationship with children, he was all about children, Mr. Rogers. He loved children. And in fact, he tried later in his life to help adults. It just didn't work out the same. But he had this thing about children. There was a thing about children. It wasn't what they'll become. It's what they are already.
Yeah,
now.
Why do people talking about what children will become?
No, they're there now. It's there. It's all there now, he said. And they need to be listened to and looked at and talked to. And he really knew how to talk to them. And there's a beautiful scene with him talking to a child who has cystic fibrosis. It's amazing. He's amazing. Just a beautiful person. So for those of you, I think maybe for people, you tell me if I'm wrong, Phelim, but I would say to people, right, for you guys who know Mr. Rogers really well, read the Esquire article first, maybe, and then go to see the Tom Hanks film, or do it the other way around.
No, do it the other way around, because actually reading the Esquire article will destroy the film for you.
Oh.
I think you'll go and you'll think, that was a good film, right? And, it was grand, whatever.
Well, let us know.
I think if you read the article first and go to see the movie, you'll be disappointed.
Well, I thought anyway. I think the man was. I think the man was a miracle worker, and I think, and as I said in the movie, they do refer to his prayer life. That at night he would pray for all these children who had written to him, all these children who had problems, and he'd name them. And this journalist who came, who was this cynical guy who had a troubled life, he totally basically changed that guy's life. Mm-hmm. But they don't, they do it in the movie, but they don't do it in the way of the spiritual life of the man that had been closed up. And I think that is, the fact that he said that saying the prayer was like a spike and then it became an umbrella. By the way, the guy was an incredible writer. So I would say for the holiday season, I'd highly recommend it. I want to talk about food now because I should talk about food now. But so here's the thing about what we made yesterday. Yeah. So we made mince pies yesterday. We made the mince pies together, by the way. And I'm all about cheating. I think it's really important. People are really busy and tired, and I think cheating is fine with food. So here's how you cheat this, and it's so easy. So first of all, I didn't know. I started making the mince pies, and I was thinking, I wonder, can Americans buy mince meat? So this is mince meat. And we're showing it up. I think there'll be a better version of this up on your screen. But basically, this is from Cross and Blackwell, and I just checked it out. All the supermarkets in America, sir, have this thing called mincemeat. By the way, for those of you who don't know, there's no meat in mincemeat.
I'm shocked.
There is no meat in mincemeat. I don't know why they called it that. Now there is suet, so I think the reason that they might say that is I think that the fat is possibly animal fat. Anyway, it's basically very heavy, nice stuff with loads and loads of fruit in it. What you do, and I've put up the recipe, it's super simple. You cut up an apple, you put an apple into some of this. I used a half of this jam jar yesterday and made, what did I make, like 10? Mm-hmm. I made like 10 of these. And I bought the ready rolled pastry from Trader Joe's. And you know what? Yeah. Good luck to you if you want to make pastry, and it's great, and it's lovely, and all of that.
I just say Trader Joe's is overrated. Okay, I'm moving on.
Phelim has a thing with Trader Joe's, but I can tell you one thing. I was very impressed with their pastry. Did you not think the pastry was great?
No, the pastry was, and I was heavily involved in the pastry.
He was, and we're going to put up a whole bunch of photographs of us making making these mince pies yesterday. They came out of the oven, and by the way, you'll notice, and look at those photographs, they're not the prettiest, right? They're not perfect. But if you came for perfect cookery, this is not the place for it, right? It ain't always pretty, but it always tastes good, right? Like, I think that's the trick, right? But here's what was incredible was, I said, we were going out for a walk, let's just have one. So I had 3. How many did you have? You had 3 in that one sitting.
Yeah,
that was
one
6.
or two.
And then he came back for more. And here's how you serve them. Serve them with, like, you know, clotted cream, heavy pouring cream, or just vanilla ice cream. They are killer. And you know, the truth is, you can eat them cold. I think you can eat them cold. Yes, of course you can eat them cold.
Talk about
I'd prefer to eat them warm.
I like them cold.
What are we got to talk about?
So, you know, let's go into the more details. But are you going to put the recipe up? Or,
oh, no, the recipe's going to go.
Describe.
Couldn't it be simpler? So you're just going to, what you do with, by the way, you don't need a pastry cutter for this. Roll out your pastry, and instead of a pastry cutter, use a glass. You know, find a glass, different glass shapes.
Big enough for the pocket.
The bottom needs to be bigger than the top. So you need a lid. You need a bottom, big circle. The lid, smaller circle. Yeah. And then you're going to spoon in like 2, you know, don't overfill them.
So you make the big one, you put it into the muffin tray, and you fit it in.
Phelim was very good at this
and then
yesterday.
You spoon in not too much.
Not too much, but some of them a little bit too much.
Some of them.
And they will explode.
Some of them spilled over.
Some of them spilled over, but you know, spilled over in a gorgeous way.
And then
you have this caramelized thing going on.
Put the lid on, and what do you...
Remember my word, caramelized. Caramelized is another word for burnt. Yeah, go on ahead.
And you put the lid on.
You put the lid on, and you press down.
Pastry, and you press down.
You press down, right, to make a seal. Some people will put a little rim of water to help with making the seal. And then I used an egg wash. You could use a milk wash either to just get a lovely sheen off the top. Then the other really important thing to do is to prick a hole, you know, not a hole, but just prick with a knife, with a sharp knife, into the top of all of them, so they don't explode, so that they have air to breathe. And then put them in. We put them in
top of the oven.
At the top of the oven, 400. Preheat the oven to 400. Put them in take them out and look at them at 20 minutes. And by the way, you know when people are not, you know when I'm not 100% saying, oh, exactly 20 minutes, it's because I don't know your oven and you know your oven. If you've got a very fast oven, they'll probably be done in 20 minutes. We were going more to like 25, 26, 27 minutes. But what you really want is the top to get a little bit browned, and you take them out. Don't eat them like instantly, but you know it's very hard. We sort of did, but we didn't burn ourselves, right?
Cool down a bit.
Let them cool down a bit. I took them outside and put them outside because the weather had improved a little bit here. But we had them with the clotted cream.
Crazy California. We should do a Crazy California section. The weather's terrible. That's crazy.
Weather's crazy California. I want my money back. I don't know why I'm paying the high taxes. It's 50 degrees today.
Yes.
How did that happen? Yes. But I can tell you one thing. If you have never tried to make mince pies, do it. Do it.
Do it with a suet.
Do it with suet. Oh, look at you, Phelim. And send us a photograph. I'd love to see a photograph of your mince pies. And send me any questions if I've left something out in that. But the recipe is going to go up on the Facebook page. They're really, really yummy. They're a nice thing to bring if you're going over to somebody's house for a tree trimming.
And they're British, innit?
And what you could do is bring them over uncooked and put them into their oven, actually, so that you get them out of the oven nice and hot. I don't want to eat them cold. And by the way, can I just say, I have never made mince pies before, but they were a huge success, number one. And number two, I didn't like mince pies before, but I really like these.
Yeah, they were great.
Really
Love
nice.
them.
And I have to say, this particular mincemeat, as they call it, mincemeat, is pretty nice. Now, that could be because there's rum and brandy in it. You can never go wrong, you know. It's Cross and Blackwell, which is a very British name, by the way. But I chopped up a little apple in there because it just gave it just a little bit of different consistency with this mincemeat. So anyway, do it with suet, and you'll love it. You really will love it. But try not to eat 3 of them in a row. But they are fabulous, and we're going to talk about more Christmassy things coming up to during the season. I think we're nearly ready to sign off.
Yes. So I cannot emphasize them too much. The project next week.
The cat is drinking out of
I
the
know,
bottle.
that's why I'm holding the bottle so he doesn't spill it.
Okay.
That sound that you're hearing is the cat trying to stick his tongue into my bottle of water, which
Stop it. Stop it.
Actually, let's...
Okay.
So, I cannot emphasize, go and register with your email at apscoopexclusive.com.
apscoopexclusive.com for sure. You're going to be very happy
the project is
about
going to
this
drop
project.
next week. It is going to be a game changer. We're creating a new idea, new genre. We can't tell you what it is, but if you like Gosnell, if you like Frack Nation, if you like FBI Lovebirds, Undercovers,
you're going to love this.
You're going to love this.
You're going to love this. Yeah, and we might be so send in your sign up because we will be sending out a teaser on Friday.
And you'll be the first to get it. And
and then don't forget, again, Giving Tuesday was yesterday, and give what you can at the apscoop.com.
Oh, and what about Amazon Smile?
Oh, and Amazon Smile. So here's the thing you can do, really quick before we finish. So this costs you nothing, like $0, but it does cost Amazon something, by the way. So that's a good thing. How would you like to take money off Jeff Bezos and give it to us?
Yes.
Now, how can I sell it better to you? All you've got to do is sign up for Smile and say that we are your designated charity. We're the designated charity.
So Smile,
and then every time you buy something on Amazon, we're going to get a tiny amount. And Yvonne wants to shout out something.
Make sure it's the Unreported Story Society.
Yes.
Make sure it's the Unreported Story
Society. So Amazon
Society.
Smile says, would you like to donate to Amazon Smile? And then you go in and you put in the name Unreported Story Society as your designated charity. It does not cost you 1 penny, but every time you buy, Amazon and Jeff Bezos gives us money.
How good would you feel about that?
Is that not a great Christmas present?
Isn't that just easy peasy? So do that. Do it. All you got to do, as I said, when you go...
Amazon Smile makes us smile, makes Jeff Bezos unhappy.
That's a winning formula.
Win-win.
So we'll see you the next time. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.